Welcome back everybody to another brand new video. So Christmas has come and gone. We're now in the new year 2024 and I have to say I'm absolutely skint. It's a long way off the end of January for the next payday, so we need to make some fast cash. Let's have a look at some classic cars, see if we can do a quick flip, make some money. So I need to find a car that I know like the back of my hand, also that is fairly cheap, needs a bit doing, but we can make a lot of profit on it. We need to get one where the parts are readily available so we can get them same day or next day so we can get it fixed, get it out the door. I found one, I've messaged the guy, so let's go and have a look at it. Fingers crossed, it's worth it. Let's go. So as you might have seen from the thumbnail, we're going for a 1969 Mk1 Ford Escort. Apparently it's just been restored, so I'm hoping the bodywork's going to be okay and it just wants a bit of tidying up. If it gets into bodywork, that's time, that's money we ain't got either. I want to get it turned around fast, get it out the door. So it's up for £30,000, which is a lot of money. It's about what it's worth, to be honest, but the more I can get down on the price, the more I can make on it when I sell it. So George, that's who owns it. He lives in Bournemouth, which is 3 hours away. That's 150 miles, so it's a long old drive. It's cloudy, it's 1 degree outside. It's going to be a cold look at this car. What I'll do is I'll get there, chat to him, ask to go on road test, I think, because there's no point me going, oh, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, in front of him, because he's not going to like it. You know, I want to be pally, I want to get some money off this car. So yeah, I'll go on road test, I'll park somewhere quiet, and that's where I'll get the camera out and we'll have a look round it. Sound. See you in a minute, or 3 hours. So I'm here in sunny Bournemouth. It is really sunny today, but the wind, it's like, yeah, still 1 degree and it's like Arctic out here. So I got my hat on. Met George. What a nice guy, to be honest. Real good. He's the kind of guy that you just go out for a beer with and have a good chat about cars. Top bloke. So he's let me come out for a road test. We've come down some farm track just off the main road, and let me show you around the car. And here it is. I don't think you can appreciate how bright blue this thing is. Wind's picking up a bit here, hopefully you can still hear me. He was right, the paint job is mega nice. It's a real tidy looking car, which is good. I can see a few problems. The wind's still blowing. The door here, that's actually shut. It looks like it's open, but it's not been adjusted right. Same with the boot, and the bonnet needs adjusting. It's just adjustment, it's only little bits. Another thing here, the front bumpers look a bit weird. It's in too much at the front and kind of out, which makes it look like it's, yeah, going inwards, which again is just adjustment. You know, I can sort that out. They're chrome. I absolutely hate chrome on a classic car. And the headlights a bit, yeah, could do with 2 new headlights, but that's not bad. It's not going to cost much. It's adjustment, it's pretty good. Going into the engine bay, let me pop the bonnet. Tell you what, that wind is freezing. So what we got in here then, we've got a standard bore 1600 cross flow, but it's got 1300 pistons in, so we've got a better compression ratio. We've got a decent exhaust, and we've got twin 40 Webers. So good power. What's that going to be? 100 brake, probably a bit more. We'll send it to Dave if we buy it, get him to check the tune on the carbs and yeah, see if it's all right. We've got a big high flow aluminium rad. Ow, that's actually hot. Bias pedal box. Everything in here is nice, and we've actually got a car with washers. We're hey, first time we've got a washer bottle we don't have to fit. Yeah, looking good. Let's go round to the inside. That needs sorting. God, at least the wind's good in here. Coming round to the inside, this is where it gets fun. Average leatherette set of seats, front and back. They're okay. Slide you about a bit. But the main thing we got with this car is this. That's right, George is disabled, so he had this converted so he can drive it with hand controls, and it's an automatic. So really, if we want it, we want to convert it back to a manual. I'll show you what it's like in the road test with an auto. They're only a 3-speed, so it is very revvy even at 50 or 60 miles an hour. That's going to add up the cost a bit because we've got to buy a gearbox, probably a prop shaft, I would have thought, because probably the output of the auto box is different. Clutch, flywheel. It's still got the clutch pedal, so it just needs a cable, hopefully. But yeah, there's a few bits we got to take into account that, you know, we got to cost up. So yeah, that's the interior. So overall, it's not a bad car, to be honest. I think we'll go on road tests, we'll do a bit more, and I'll show you what I found on the drive. Let's go. Yeah, it's quite noisy driving in here. I'm sat at 50 now. It's struggling a little bit with this auto box, to be honest. It's revving quite high, but it's just in like the wrong power band, if you know what I mean. Obviously good for George to drive. I mean, this handle, it's like cruise control. You can just leave it and it will stay at the same revs. The brakes are real responsive. It's got a bias pedal box as well as servo assist, so it does stop on its nose. The carpet's not nice in here where it's had the auto tunnel fitted for the bigger box. It needs all doing. And yeah, the seats don't feel great. The main problem with this car is it just doesn't handle. It feels weird on the front, like there's either a bit of play or the tracking's not right or the camber's out or something. It just floats all over the road. It's not great. It has got weird tyres on it. He has got another set of Wolf Race, but these ones that are on it, the profile's too low, I think. It needs some fatter tyres and lowering a bit. It's a bit like a 4x4. Other problems we got, there's a big stone chip right in front of the screen. Hang on, let's just get up to speed. There we go. There's a big stone chip right in front of the screen, literally in my view. We've got no rev gauge. Either the fuel gauge doesn't work or we're about to run out of fuel. The alternator light is on permanently but very dull, like it's not getting the full charge. The steering wheel's massive. It's got power steering. That's so obviously because, I mean, he needs to turn the steering wheel with one hand while doing the brakes. So the steering's very light as well. Overall, it's not a bad car. The bodywork is good, which is the main thing. You can hear the wind noise in the doors, but they just need adjusting. It's just the cost of all these little bits are going to add up. But the problem is George is in two minds to sell it or not. So if I go in there stupidly and offer him such a low ball price, the indicators don't stay on as well. If I go in there and offer him like a stupid low price, he's just going to tell me to do one, and he's just going to go, do you know what, I'll keep it. So I've got to be sensible about the money I offer him, and let's go back and chat to him and see what he says. But yeah, this auto box, it's just got to go, I think. So, well, hey, good news, got the car on the back. We did a deal. I got quite a bit off, to be honest. I was well chuffed. And the bonus, because George converted it to automatic, he still had a lot of the stuff. So we got the gearbox and the prop shaft, starter motor, clutch cable. We need a clutch, but I mean, that saves us loads of money. So we're back on our way home now. Another 3 hours, probably a Mackey's stop in the middle, I expect. And yeah, well chuffed. Let's get it back in the workshop and start making some money. Yes. That's it, we're day 2 now and we're back in the workshop. Nice and warm in here. I was absolutely freezing all day yesterday. Nothing worse than trying to do a deal when you're shivering like that and you just want to go home. It's good seeing a Mark 1 back in the workshop. It's been a year since I sold my last one. Hopefully I won't fall in love with this one and not want to sell it. I want to try and turn it around in about 4 days, make about 3,000–4,000 quid. Hopefully, as long as the parts costs don't add up too much. So this car has got a lot of little problems all round it, apart from the auto box. That's the biggest job we got to do. But we'll try and compress those down to 4 main parts: the outside, the inside, the handling and the drive. So let's get it on the ramp and let's get cracking. I think we'll start off by doing the outside jobs first, starting at the front and then working backwards. I just noticed the number plate here, look, that's proper poor condition. There's been some holes drilled in it as well. We'll have to get a new set of number plates, and you can see the headlight again. Now it's not blinding sunlight. Got all the water in it, so we'll order some of those too. The first job is what everybody hates me doing, is getting rid of the chrome, because I just hate chrome. I think before I take the bumper off, I'm going to get the ratchet in here and just undo this bracket. And let's give it a little twist. Yeah, there we go. That's much better already. As long as it's in line with this indicator, it don't look all weird then, does it? So yeah, I'll tighten that up and then we'll get these front bumpers off. I'll clean them up, make sure there's no dirt on there before I put our lovely wrap over the top of that. And then I'll paint the bolts that hold it on, and also I've done the Ford lettering across the bonnet. Now while that's drying, we're going to tackle our grille. When this goes black, I want to give it a lot of depth, so you can see the body parts here behind that you can see blue. I'm going to do that black as well. So we'll start taking off this grille. We'll get our dodgy headlights out and then we'll rub it down and mask up the front and paint it black. It's looking much better now. We'll get our new headlights in and fit the grille, and then that is our front end all done. Doesn't it look good? So it's gone from looking a bit feeble, a bit weak, to looking like a proper mean machine. Awesome. I want it to look fast, I want it to look evil, and I think it's done the trick. Awesome. And moving around to the sides, we got to sort out our door gap. I mean, I can get my fingers in there and that's shut. Hopefully, like I said before, it's just a case of adjustment. Get the old trusty screwdriver out. Let's undo these 3 screws. Give it a little push back. Well, that's as far as it goes, so hopefully it'll be all right. Let's do them back up. And then give it a little shut. That's much better. I mean, that's as far as it goes, and that's pretty much flush now. Ideal. We do the same with the other side. Oh, wait a minute. We got a bit more chrome we got to deal with. Let's sort that out now. And there we go. A chrome door handle on a light coloured car just kind of fades away into the background. I think doing it black makes it look a bit more modern, much better in my opinion. I'm going to crack on dechroming all the rear badges and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Let's go. So we've used up a couple more hours of our day, managed to wrap that rear bumper, complete nightmare, same as the fronts because it goes that way and that way, what a pain. But that's looking good. I've also painted the rear chrome light surrounds, they're gone, the badges, the boot lock, and also the rear glass. It had the chrome infill in it. I took that out and I replaced it with the black one. So on the Mark IIs you can get a complete solid rear screen rubber. I don't think you can on the Mark 1s, so that's why I've done it this way. Looks a bit better, I think. A lot of you are hating this, I expect, me dechroming an Escort, but I want it to look a bit meaner and a bit more modern. Maybe get a younger person interested in it that wants to stump up a bit more cash. Fingers crossed anyway. And the last thing on the outside is our front screen. It's got a stone chip and it's literally right in front of where you're looking when you're driving, so it's the first thing you notice. And the rest of it is just real scratched. Looks awful. It's an hour's round trip to Cheltenham to pick up a new one. It's £175. It's well worth, for that cost, just putting a new one in. So I'm going to get this out now, make sure we don't need the rubber seal as well, and I'm going to do the black infill like we've done on the back to just get rid of this chrome. I'll also paint up these wiper arms and jobs are good. Right, I'll get this out and then we'll switch to when I got the new one. We've got our glass. If we're quick, what's the time? We can get it on today. That means we've done all the outside in one day. It's taken a bit of time, but when you paint stuff, it takes ages to get it dry. For some reason, the glass manufacturer liked to stick 1 million stickers all over this glass. So we'll get the stickers off, get the seal on. So now the seal's around the window, we got a little trick I want to teach you for putting the glass in. We need 2 tools. One is a 99p decorator's cork and a piece of string. So first of all, with the cork, we get the nib or tip off and then we chuck away the rest. And then slide our string through the tip and out the other end, just like that. So the string goes inside this seal, and the easiest way to get that in is poke this little nozzle in there and then just pull it crossways. And that gets the string right up in the groove, ready for when we're gonna put it on the car and give it a tug. And then once the string's round and we've crossed it over, it's ready to go in. Now, a lot of people use fairy liquid, you know, washing up liquid, putting glass in. It's full of salt, fairy liquid is. That seam on the Escort where this glass sits is very thin, and if you chip the paint you'll never know because the rubber's on it. I don't want the first thing in contact with that chip to be full of salt. So I mean, I always use quick detailer. It's real slippery, and if you get a mess anywhere you just wipe it off and it actually polishes the glass, the rubber, the car and everything. So we'll get this nice and wet and shove it in. So putting the glass in this Escort, you just can't be afraid of it. You have to give it a couple of good slaps like it's been a naughty little boy, and slowly pull that string as you're giving it a tap and folding that lip over. It's hard doing it by yourself, but eventually it will sit in there nice. And then using more of that quick detailer to make it super slippery, put in that black trim. Goes all round nice. Job's a good one. Give it a wipe down, and then that's the outside of our car done. It's been a long day. Tomorrow is day 3 now, so first day was buying it, day 2's the outside. I haven't quite made up my mind yet what we're doing on day 3, but I mean, I think it looks much better. It's been a good hard day. I'm knackered. Time to get some sleep, crack on early in the morning. See you tomorrow. So day 3 is here and we're working on our Mean Machine Mark 1. I've had the 4S's this morning, the old shave, shower and shampoo, feeling good, ready to get stuck in with the drive. By drive I mean the auto box basically. I'll do a quick check over the engine, the exhaust and everything else. But yeah, we're going to get stuck into that this morning. The bonus of working at home, like it's -1 outside today, but in here it is toasty warm. But the downside is I've only got a mid-rise lift, so the car only lifts halfway up because the roof height's only 3 meters, and I can't get the camera in underneath while I'm doing it, which sucks a bit. So what I'll do It's only a ring of bolts to get the gearbox out on these. They're a piece of cake. I'll get it out, we'll get it on the floor and we'll have a look at it. So I'm going to crack on. See you in a minute. And that's one auto box out the car. So as I thought, it wasn't a bad job really. Started off by taking the prop shaft off. The prop shaft on this with the auto box is actually a 2-piece prop. It don't look in great condition, to be fair. It's just surface corrosion, but yeah, it's good to get that thing off the car. The only mishap I had, if you look here, yeah, smashed me head on the diff. Tell you what, that hurt, that did. And then I come around the front, undid all the bolts around the bell housing, and undid the kick down wire, the gear change, all the rest of the stuff off the box and drain the fluid out of it. Then to split the torque converter, or if you're over 70, I suppose you'd call it a fluid flywheel, off the flywheel of the car, or the flex plate. Look how thin that is. That's mental, isn't it? You have to turn the engine round, and through the little hole here you can see these 16mm bolts. Undo 4 of them, and then it's ready to pop off. Lowered it down, and here we are. It's a massive box. It's got an automatic tunnel in it, like a rally tunnel, so we should have no problems getting our nice Type 9 5-speed box in there. Coming over here, we got, again, a Lighten flywheel. It's not going to be mega on power, so we want to out this engine, rev up quick in any way we can. So got the flywheel, and I got the clutch and friction plate from Burton Power, so should give us a lot of grip. You can see over here, that's our single piece prop that's going back on. Nice thick chunky one, nice and clean and looking like brand new. It's going to look mint on our car. So in reverse order, I'll slap everything back on, and then I suppose we'll test the gears on the ramp, make sure it's okay. See you again in a bit. Well, that's it. Our automatic Escort is now a manual. Awesome. It's took the entire day. I really struggled getting the gearbox in because you're lying on your back and you can't get a jack. Getting it up in there took like an hour and a half. I ended up putting it on my knees and like oiking my knees up and wiggling it and tilting the engine. Oh, it was a pain, but I suppose it's not a loss. It's a day gone, which is a pain, but we've done a lot today, which is good. So time to go in. I'm going to go and have my tea, and I'll see you again in the morning for the next job. Mint. We're back. It's day 4. Ready to get cracking on this Escort again. Today we're going to tackle the handling, basically the way it looks. It drove real weird, like it's on its tiptoes, and it looks a bit like a 4x4. Now George, when he sold me the car, he had a different set of wheels, a set of Wolf Race wheels, but I wanted to use this wheel and maybe just stick a tyre on it. But the problem I found on day 1, as I looked behind the wheel, is this. The actual wheel sticks out past the arch. And checking the inside of the wheel, the offset of it is ET19, probably good for bubble arch Mark 1, but on ours, if we want to lower it a bit, it's going to rub, and that's obviously why it's got the skinny stretch tyres on it. So I had pre-ordered a set of wheels. We're going to chuck them on, and we'll start at the back. We'll start with the rear suspension. Let's go. Okay, starting on the suspension. On the rear. Now, when I was road testing it, problems with the front, you feel through the steering, like it felt like it was on tiptoes, tracking or camber, that's going to be. Stuff on the rear, you feel through your bum. So, going round and round about, it kind of went bleh, you know, and then you're pulling out the roundabout a bit quick and it went bleh. It just feels a bit saggy on the rear end, if you know what I mean. So you can see here it's got multi-leaf rear leaf spring. They can flex, they can twist. It's okay for a standard car, but you know, we want to give this some. So what I did on the first day when I got back, I ordered these. Single leaf, £145. That's in spring weight, not in money. I wish it was. Whereas the old one's a multi-leaf, this one's a single leaf. And also, if I hold it up level here, this is a decambered spring. So instead of having the curve like normal, it's been decambered. So that actually gives us a 2-inch lift. So that's going to move this axle up more into the arch, make the car look lower as well. So improved handling, makes it look better, well worth the money. So let's bang these on. It's an easy job. We first start by using a diff support, which cleverly looks like my stool with an axle stand on it. Then we just undo the bolt that goes through the front of the leaf spring, come around the back, undo the rear shackle, which this was quite easy. Instead of the whole shackle coming off, it was just a pin through the bottom, which was good. Then it's just the 4 nuts on the bottom of those U-bolts. Give it a good old tug. Oh, and it comes out. Awesome. Let's put it down next to the new one. Now looking at it like that, it don't look much different in kind of the shape of where stuff ends, but if we hold it like this, yeah, you can really see now that 2-inch difference. It's going to look ideal. Let's boy racer our Mark 1, slam it to the ground. Awesome. I'm going to fit this back on. It's only a couple of bolts, isn't it? Easy off, easy on. I'll do the other side and I'll see you in a bit. Well, hey, there we go. Job's a good one. It actually looks a lot nicer under here with the single leaf rather than the multi-leaf. You can see here this diff, the hub is moved much higher up into the arch. So it's going to look the dog's danglies, I reckon, when it's on the floor. So wheels, I'll show you over here. So I've gone for the same style because I think they look awesome. It's either these or mini lights at the end of the day. They're both 7-inch wide by 13-inch in diameter. But you can see here the difference with the ones that were on it, the offset. So the wheel nuts, these nuts, lower down, pushing the wheel out of the arch, which was no good. And this is higher up, so that's pushing that wheel more into the car. Hopefully we'll tuck that so we ain't going to rub that arch, because we don't want to damage that paint. I'm going to drop these off at the tyre place. I've got some AR1s to stick on it. While they're down there, I'm going to crack on with cleaning up the brakes and just generally checking over everything's tight. See you in a bit. Checking the rear brakes on the Escort. They all look new, to be honest. I gave them a good old clean up and adjusted them up, and jobs are good one. And then, because we're still waiting for these tyres to be done, I went under the rear end and brake cleaned all that dirt off. I want somebody to look under this and think, wow, you know, the underside is as clean as the top. And then moving around to the front, we need to adjust up our front coilover. It's got Bilstein coilovers on the front, Bilstein shocks on the back. So once we get it sorted, it should handle quite well. You can see, if you step back from the car, the difference now we've put them rear leaf springs on, where the rear wheel's going to sit compared to the front. So I think we've got to drop this at least an inch to start with, and then let it down and do some finer adjustments after. The other thing, inside these arches, you can see this here, look. Now at a first glance, I don't want somebody thinking, oh, all the seams are rusting, because what it is somebody has used brown seam sealer. Now seam sealer's got a lot of thinners in it, so it's brushable basically. And usually you put the seam sealer on and then you've got to wait a day or 2 days, because that thinners like gases and it dries out and it comes out into the atmosphere. I think what's happened here is somebody has put the seam sealer on and then just painted the car, and obviously the thinners have come through the paint and literally every seam under this arch just looks horrible. So I pre-ordered some Olympic blue, and we'll brush that on as well. But first, yeah, let's undo this coil over, drop it down an inch, and then that's all done. And then we'll key up the paint around the seams and give it a nice covering of this Olympic blue. Job's a good one. That looks much better. And while the paint was drying, I went and picked up our wheels. Ooh, there we go. Nice chunky fat tyres, 185 6013 AR1s. It's a nice tread pattern. Should make it look like a right racer. Right, let's get this on. Now that looks nice. As long as it stays like that, I don't want it dropping much more, to be honest. The arches have been rolled, so it can go up inside, but you can see, look inside on it now. Yeah, that's tucked right inside that arch, which is mint. Yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that. It's the right size tyre with that wheel in that arch. Ace. I'm going to get the rest on. I'll get it down on the floor. Fingers crossed. Looks like a mean machine. Let's carry on. Now that is a bit too low, isn't it, really? I mean, that's still on the ramp. That's still on the lift block, so it's going to go down another ½ inch than that. With the low power, we don't want to be worried about bottoming out and arches rubbing, and we want to give it as much as we can around the B roads. Yeah, that just looks a bit weird as well, doesn't it? I left I think there were 2-inch lift blocks on it, so we'll get rid of them. Hopefully it'll be much better. See you in a minute. And there we go. That looks much better. The tyres are now nice and level with the arch. The front's sitting good. This thing on the back lanes is just going to be awesome. So we're 4 days in now. It's the end of day 4. We've gone from a car that looked good before, to be honest. It was all right, to now looking like this. I think it's sat better, the outside looks better. It's going to be a nice car. Hopefully somebody will fall in love with and stump up the cash. So that's it. I'm going in for me tea. I'll see you tomorrow. So day 5 is here and we are ready to get stuck into that interior. While it was off the ramp, I adjusted all the tracking up. It was absolutely miles out, as I thought. And yeah, got it back on the ramp. So let's get stuck in. Okay, the inside. I think the first job we'll do, take off these dual controls. Somebody's done a real good job of fabricating all this so it fits and works really well. So I'm going to take it off real carefully, take some pictures of how it's mounted, and then yeah, if anybody wants it, they can have it. It is nice. Also with the steering wheel, it's massive, it's a bit ugly, but it's what was needed. George kept the original RS steering wheel that was on it, so we're going to fit that back on as well. So let's get cracking taking this off. I think it's only a U-bolt around the top, and then it's just mounted to the power steering. Let's get it off. So as I thought, the dual controls, yeah, they're easy to take out. It's just a case of undoing the bolts that clip all around the pedals, and then they slide off. Then 2 little 10mm holding that bracket onto the back of that electric power steering motor, and then up to the top, which almost looks like a exhaust U-clamp, 2 13mm, undo those, and the whole thing pops off. Then just the middle bolt out of that steering wheel, and then that's off too. So now all this stuff's off, we've got quite a lot of room here really. I wanted to have a look at the gauges because when you drive in, oh yeah, look at that. That's mega loose. When you're driving, it's just going all over the place. I don't actually think, let me just give it a pull. Yeah, there's actually no bolts holding it on at all. So, bolts, screws. So, the clips are there. Actually, while it's out, we have no rev gauge. So let's have a look at the back of this and see where the wire is. All the bulbs have fell out as well. Right, let's have a look. And that is a set of Mk1 6-dial clocks with a missing wire. So if you have a look at this, see this pin here? It's weird on these Mk1s, 1969 technology. You'd think a wire fits onto that pin, but it doesn't. Let me find a piece of wire. So the wire actually sits alongside it like that. And you have a clip and then a metal bracket that touches that pin, comes through and touches the other pin. And what it does, it goes to the coil. So each time the coil fires a spark, you get current flow through the wire, and that creates like a magnetic field. And this actually just senses that and picks up each pulse of the current, and that's what makes the rev gauge work. It's a special kind of connector, which I bet you can't find. So I think we need to get creative and we need to make one of these. Let's give it a go. So I found an old plastic pipe clip for plumbing and ground it down on the grinder and then drilled some holes in it, made the metal bracket that goes around the cable and connects them two terminals and slipped it on. With that on there, that hopefully is going to work. We'll give it a go anyway. Well, that didn't work, so that's an hour wasted. Let me have a Google and I'll be right back. So after a quick Google search, I found that if the car's got an electronic ignition dizzy, not the old points type, you have to tee that wire in for the rev gauge into the negative side coming out of the dizzy. So I ran some bypass wires and gave it another go. And it still doesn't effing work. Let me make a phone call to the local Escort breakers I know. See if he's got a wire. I wonder how much that'll cost. So luckily the Escort place is only an hour away in Evesham. So a quick round trip from there and back. And he had a little wire. Now that was 40 quid, new old stock, because he didn't want to break a set of clocks. But it's exactly right, exactly what we need with that little clip on it and everything. So let's swap it and give it a go. Let's get the old one off and chuck that one, and let's get this new one on. Give me a little nut for it somewhere. Where have I put that? I got it. Right, let's put the nut on, get it in. He did have a gauge. He had a brand new, well, new old stock gauge there, and he said, do you want to take it and try it and then just pay me over the phone? And I didn't take it. Oh God, the gauge has got to be knackered because the wiring's perfect. Well, I mean, this is a bit like temporary obviously, but the circuit's there, it should work. Right. So there we go, that's another hour wasted, but I've got our gauge. It's a new old stock, so it's a new one that's never been fitted, that's like nearly 50 years old. You can see, still got the plastic cover on it. There's a little bit of rust on the back casing, but yeah, if that's how it's been stored, ideal. Now that is a few £100, because no one wants to just sell a rev gauge out of a set of these clocks. They want to sell the whole clocks. So I had to buy that. Let's cross our fingers and hope it works, because if this doesn't work, I don't know what's up. Right, let's get this gauge off. So this gauge is easy to remove, just the 4 little screws around the outside, and it pops up. We get our new one, slot it in, do the screws up, and then fit our very expensive wire. And then we're ready to try it for like the 20th time. Let's have a go. Well, thank God for that. We got it done. I was close to just selling it, saying, oh, the rev gauge don't work, but it works now. Ideal. I mean, on road tests when I first drove it, the first thing I saw was the rev gauge not working. So it needed doing. It's there, it's right in front of your face, you want to see it working. The other thing I might try in a minute, so the old gauge weren't working, I'm going to try this on the positive feed to the coil. And then I don't have to run these wires through, because there's 2 connectors here behind the dash. But yeah, I'm going to put this back together. I'm going to tidy it up a bit as well, because it doesn't look that nice, and make sure it's all screwed in, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye. So that's another job done. I'm glad I stuck with it. It's a real irritating job, but it's there. I say it just needs to work, done it. It works perfect now, which is great. It did connect to them power wires behind the clocks, so there's no messing with other wires, so it keeps it all nice and neat. Before I put the clocks back in, I took them all apart, cleaned the glass, repainted the outer bit, and also over here where this was wood effect, it's only an aluminium plate. I've painted that black too. So this part of the dash looks good. It's just the rest of it we need to do now. This is loose, the carpet is quite bad. The ECU for the steering is where you'd kick it with your feet. And also we've got to look at these seats. So I've got some new seats with the same kind of pattern. So I'm going to get these out now, and I'll show you what they look like. Let's crack on. Got the carpet out and got the seats out. So I'll show you the new seats I've bought. Ta-da! Have a look at those, lovely. Bucket seats, so they're going to hold us in nice, and also I got them with the same kind of stitching, so it will match our back seats, ideal. The only problem is they come with the runners that just allow you to slide them forwards and backwards, but you can see the height difference we got, so we're going to have to make some kind of frame going from that runner down to the car. Now let me just move this out of the way a sec. The old seats, because you've got back seats, you need to get into the back. Now, there's no seat belts in the back, but back seats can be used for a lot more than just driving around, if you know what I mean. So we need to get them working. These old seats, see this pivot here with this little knobble sticking up? So there's 2 U-clamps at the front. Let me get one. There it is. So that allows you to, the back's not fixed. It basically just tilts forwards, you can get into the back of the car. So we're going to have to try and copy this design and fabricate something up that's safe, as well as, yeah, works like it's supposed to. So let's get cracking. So first off, we're going to get a piece of tube the exact same diameter as what's on the old seat, measure it and cut it to the same size. Then, to do our little knobbly bit, we're going to drill a hole in the pipe and thread in an 8mm bolt. Then cut the top off it, and we're good to give it a test. So putting it in, it does up fine, It turns lovely. That little knobble is going to be our stop, so the seat can't go too far up. Then we measure the subframe on the new seat and get the width of that and cut off a piece of angle iron. It looks ugly at the moment, but hopefully we'll get it looking good. So drill 2 holes in there, and that's going to fix it to our seat. Then we've got to go from the floor to the seat base. So we get the old seat, measure it, it comes to 3 inches. So getting another piece of that tube, we're going to put a notch in one end of it, notch it out, and then all our bits are ready to get welded up. Now it looks a bit weird, I admit that, but I mean that is solid. That's going to do well. So the moment of truth, let's get this on and have a look what it looks like in the car. We've still got to do the back mounts obviously, but let's offer it up and see how it does so far. And that's the seat in. Well, only the front mounts and they're a bit loose, but you can kind of see when it lifts up, there's more than enough room to get in the back there, so that should work well. We've just got to try and get the height of the back so it feels good, which I might actually, I'll get some blocks of wood and chock it up, and yeah, that's about right I reckon. Kind of in here I suppose we need to do the arm test. There we go. I can comfortably, it's a little bit low for the window, my arm's up slightly, but cruising, that should be the right height. So I'll measure this up and it comes to 95 mil. So we've got a 20 mil pipe, so I'm going to notch 2 more little tubes out to 75 mil. Then again I'm going to cut another piece of angle iron, drill 2 more holes in it, and then we're ready to weld them together. And now that's all welded together and fitted, we've only got one thing left to do. So because the front is fixed and the seat is going to slide forwards and backwards across the carpet, we can't really have legs because they're going to snap off. So we need like a ski to slide forwards and backwards. So I'm going to fix a bar there to there and there to there, and that's going to link the front to the back, make it stronger, as well as give us a nice smooth surface to scooch that seat along. So I'll weld these all up, paint it black, and then I'll see you in a minute. So that's one all done, painted. While it's been drying, I've been cracking on with the next one. What's the time now? 5:30. It's going to be a long day, but I want to get the other one built and the carpet done before the end of the day, because we've got a big day tomorrow. So I'm going to crack on. Speak to you in a minute. A very tired minute, I expect. See you in a bit. And that is the seats all in. Mint job. So they feel a little bit high compared to like a race car, rally car or whatever, but the steering wheels come out so high on these Mark 1s anyway, that is pretty much the perfect height for them, to be honest. Arm out the window, get some sideways action. Ooh, lovely. Loving that. With the carpet, I took the old one out. It was not glued in and it was getting under all the pedals and stuff. So I got some 4-way stretch acoustic carpet, whacked the old spray glue on, and then I put it on the tunnels, the passenger footwell and the driver's footwell. It molds to the floor, it looks great. And also on the first day I ordered some fitted Mark 1 floor mats, so they've gone into, and now yeah, all this in the front looks lovely. It feels a real nice place to be, especially with this nice steering wheel as well. Just the job. Also this evening the number plates turned up today, so I made sure I measured them absolutely perfectly and pot riveted them on with some nice black pot rivets. The fuel gauge problem, the wire wasn't even on the tank, so that's why our fuel gauge didn't work. Just probably fell off, to be honest. And the indicator, the bulb had gone on the back, and that's all it was. So I'm glad. It's been a long day. What's the time? 11:15 at night now. I am knackered, but I had to get this all done, so my work's now totally finished for the big day tomorrow. Can't wait. See you tomorrow. That's right, we're on day 6 and it's dyno day. So if I'm selling this car, I want to make sure it runs absolutely mint. So I've come here to see Dave. I forgot the biscuits, unfortunately, but he's going to try his hardest and get as much power out of this engine. So let's smash on. So Dave started by ratcheting the car down, making sure it was super secure, and then gave it an initial run. Now I'm going to cut that short because I don't want to embarrass our Escort, but it was 92 horsepower. Now that for a start is definitely not a great selling point. So Dave set to finding out what our problem is. First of all, we checked the throttle and we were only getting just over half throttle. So when the foot pedal was flat out on the floor inside the car, it was only halfway on the carb. So he did that. Also, he found that the front Weber, the choke for that front carb was staying on. So that was over fueling the front 2 cylinders. So that's another thing sorted. And also they were massively out of balance. So he balanced them all up, checked they were good, and then started giving it a run. So Dave now runs it up on the dyno and applies the brake to keep it at different speeds throughout the rev range. Checking the fuel figures on the Krypton tune, it was totally off the gauge. This thing is absolutely hammering fuel in, way too much. So he gets the old jets out. They're 140 main jets. He's now going to try 125s and then give it another go. So this time, running up through the revs, it's fueling okay, and we're ready for our power run. Is the first run underway? I'll be quiet and let you listen to that noise. And there we go, 115 brake horsepower. That's a lot better than what we had before. That's loads better. Dave thinks he can have a quick tweak with the timing, put it within safe range so it's not going to pink when it gets hot in the summer. And now, ready to do the final run. Oof, 123 brake. Now when I'm selling the car, that's a much better figure to say. So with that increase, I think Dave's done a mint job. It's time to pack up and get on our way. So we're sat outside Dave's now, all packed up, 123 horsepower. I am proper chuffed with that. I thought it was going to be about over 100 just, you know, but I suppose I drove it before when it had
quarter throttle and no fuel. That's why I was basing it on that. But yeah, I can't wait for the drive home now, to be fair. I always get nervous at dynos. Since that stone hit me in the eye last year, you might have seen in that, I ran and hid in the toilet around the corner like a big girl. So with all the work now done on the car, I've spent about £2,500 in bits. Most of that was wheels and tyres and those rear leaf springs. All the other little bits like the rev gauge, it all adds up, unfortunately. So, you know, I need to sort of take that into thing and add that, and yeah, we've still got to try and make some money. So I was going to list it on eBay tomorrow or Facebook Marketplace, but before I deal with all the people probably offering me Part X for a Fiat Uno or £5 I thought I'd just give Dream Car a ring. I know I do a lot of work for them. They usually only go for like 400 brake, 300 brake Novas or something like that, but this looks good and it sounds good, so hopefully they'll be interested in it, and it's on the way home. So let's give Tom a ring. If he answers.
Hello.
Hi mate, hiya Tom.
Hi mate, alright?
Hi, yeah, good. So I bought a Escort Mark 1 and done a little bit of work to it.
Oh, nice.
Just at Dave's now, just had it rolling road at 123 horse. It's a 1600 crossflow on twin 40s.
Okay.
It sounds awesome and it looks awesome. Do you reckon it's something you'll be interested in?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Sam, well, I got another probably hour here, and then you're on the way home, so I'll pop it over.
Yeah, run it over.
Sound. All right, see you in a bit.
Alright mate.
Okay, bye. Awesome. I lied a bit then, because when he said he was interested, I thought I'll nip home and give it a wash, because there's all crap up the side of it. So let's smash it home now. We'll go via my favourite road, I think, and yeah, have a bit of a play, the last little play in it. Hopefully, if I can get him out in it and he can just hear the noise, they're gonna love it. So let's go.
So here we are, Stocks Lane, Ace Road this is. 60 mile an hour, so I'll keep within the speed limit, but let's have some fun. Awesome. Right, let's get back, give it a clean, wash all this mud off. Train track crossing. And yeah, drop it over to Dream Car and see what they think of it. So I bought it here and they took it down the road, absolutely loved it. I mean, the car speaks for itself. It now handles amazing compared to what it did do. So it drives nice, looks good, sounds awesome, and managed to make a bit of money, which is all good. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you notice throughout this video, it's an hour long and there was no poxy adverts to disrupt the viewing. I'm here to make good content, not millions of pounds like other YouTubers out there. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like this kind of thing where it's start to finish build in one go, an hour long, leave a comment, or any comments you want. You don't like the look of the car or anything like that, it all helps the algorithm and yeah, can push it on to other people. So that's it from me. Like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.